Okay, day one, ụmụ Igbo. Greetings, depending on where you are joining from. I greet you wherever you are watching from. Welcome, guys, welcome. Wherever you are joining from, welcome. Unu na-anya na topic ndewere n'enu ebe a. You will see what it says is that we are in contrast to the activities of Ekperima in Finland and Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, in line or along with the support that they are receiving from Biafrans, that will basically analyze the situation, and we will understand exactly the difference between those two individuals. Because so many may think that what Simon Ekpa was doing is basically for the Biafrans. But I am here to tell you or inform you that in comparison to the activities of Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu, from their fruit and the support that they are receiving across the world, will tell you exactly who is for the people and who is against the people. We know very well that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was actually kidnapped, extraordinary rendition, in 2021. And prior to the time of his kidnap, an extraordinary rendition, he has been in the custody of the DSS in arbitrary detention, which violate the human right of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And since that time, Biafrans has been giving him their support relentlessly. We are standing side by side with him. We are standing in solidarity with Nnamdi Kanu. We've been supporting him with our voices, the letter we have written to different organizations. We've been supporting him with our media channels. We've been supporting him with marching across the world. We've been supporting Nnamdi Kanu in every way possible that gave him strength in everything that he is actually going through. It gave him strength and it means a lot to him. Now, if we want to contrast, Simon Ekpa has been, immediately when Nnamdi Kanu was taken, Simon Ekpa surfaced in the name that he is next in command. And so many individuals whom the wind blew towards his direction believe that he is next in command, especially people who does not understand how organization is run. They believe organization can easily select or actually make a decision without due diligence being done in selection of next in command or power of attorney. Because these are the things that so many people fail to understand, that organization run in accordance with the rules and regulations of the organization, which is also gazetted and registered during the registration of that organization. So Simon Ekpa came from nowhere with all his cohorts and the conspiracy that came with it, that he will become the next in command in the IPOB led by Mazen Namdekano. But unfortunately for him, it didn't work because everyone saw him, the wise people saw him for what he is or what he was. I don't know what he is now because he is in a dungeon. He is in prison. So I don't know what he is now. If he is going to go through his rehabilitation and become a better man. So, but what he was no good for anybody. It was no good for anything, including the movement for self-determination and our quest for independence from Nigeria, Britain. So that is the reason why we are in contrast to ascertain whether or not he is receiving the support that he was receiving during the time he was creating mayhem and disorganizing the struggle for self-determination, which is actually, all Biafrans across the world have embarked upon. We have seen that when he appears in court in Finland, we saw that there were many people who were there to testify against him. More than 10 Biafrans, even though the prosecutor was actually, asked to, bring in like 3 witnesses, even though the prosecutors, lined out, more than 10 people, not just Biafrans, because, where it gets more interesting is that people believe that it is only Biafrans that are going to testify against him. His neighbor was going to testify against him. His neighbor, the one they share garden with. When you live in a public yard or apartment, you know your neighbors, especially in apartments. There are neighbors that you share garden with. They are going to testify against Simon Ekpa as well, as they will always hear him making his conversation, making his phone calls, and making his broadcast. So they were lined up as well to testify against Simon Ekpa in court in Finland, Helsinki. So, in contrast to that of Nnamdi Kanu, we know that the witnesses that were actually there to testify against Nnamdi Kanu were Nigeria agents. There is no neighbor, there is no friend, there is no brother, there is no foes. They are all DSS, masking themselves in conspiracy to go and testify on issue or matter that they know nothing about. Which some of them, if thorough investigation is conducted on those witnesses, you will find out that they are committing a crime called perjury. That's what some of them will be doing because they have nothing, they have absolutely nothing against Nnamdi Kanu or against the conduct of Nnamdi Kanu. So in that regard, Simon Ekpa has violated the laws, not just the laws in Biafra land, not just the land of Biafra. He has violated international law that deals with terrorism. His conduct are actually, you know, indicted in the act of terrorism. Hence, the Finland authority got him because, in contrast with Nnamdi Kanu being in Britain, made all his broadcasts, traveled around the world, was not seen as a fugitive by well-developed countries and established security in different countries in Europe and in North America. He was not seen as a terrorist. He was not perceived as a terrorist or received as a terrorist. He was respected by international organizations, but because of bureaucracy that are in these international organizations, that controls these international organizations, their hands are tied to help in facilitating the independence of Biafrans. We understand that and we have perceived that. So in that regard, Nnamdi Kanu, we are still in contrast. Nnamdi Kanu was not seen as a fugitive, was not seen as a terrorist, was not seen as a criminal, was not seen as someone who was inciting violence in Europe. Don't forget, African countries was colonized by Europeans, and most of the laws embedded in your constitutions, they were influenced by the Europeans. Therefore, if there is any violation of these laws, the Europeans will detect it first, especially when you are domiciled in Europe. So, in this regard, we discovered that everything that Nigeria is to go, whatever Nnamdi Kanu is going through in Nigeria is basically due to injustice and violation of people's rights that Nigeria government condone and the court of Nigeria condone because there is no judiciary in Nigeria that does not have godfather or bureaucrat. Now, when we talk about bureaucrat in context, while we contrast, we talk about people who are on the side controlling the activities of such organizations, which are supposed to be duly independent from them because of the arms of the government, how it is structured in Nigeria. It is structured in such a way that every arm is supposed to be independent of one another. But that's not exactly what we are seeing. And if you go through the Constitution of Nigeria, go through 1999 Constitution, which is one of the, which is the latest constitution that is recognized in Nigeria. You go through the section 36 of this constitution, article 1 and 4, you will understand that Nnamdi Kanu's right has been violated. Internationally, ICCPR, International Civil, I've forgotten the full name of this abbreviation, but it started with International Civil Crime something something. So it's about the right of people, how it is actually recognized for their right to be reserved or their right to be preserved, regardless of any crime they are being accused of. Because those who actually influence the laws that we are using, even in Nigeria, they understand that no one is guilty until proven in the court of law. Therefore, the right of such individual must be protected and preserved. So Nnamdi Kanu's right has been violated. Nnamdi Kanu's right has been violated. Nigeria constitution has been violated. International laws has been violated. And there is no way you will say that you are a protector of a law and you are a protector of laws and you are violating a law in the name to protect the law. There is no nothing. Those two things, they can never work together. So in arbitrary detention is against international law and Geneva's convention. Arbitrary detention of any individual is in violation of international law. Extraordinary rendition of any individual, regardless of what they are accused of, is against international law. Therefore, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's right has been violated in so many ways, and yet, still being violated. We are not expecting any international organization to come in because Nigeria is not a developed country and it is not a country that understand or actually respect the rule of law. Even if international organizations have to come in, and of course they will not come in because they have nothing to benefit, because the international organization, they only go to where they benefit. In when you actually compare that to what we have heard happened in Burkina Faso in the past months, you will understand that they will never go to where they don't benefit. Rather, they will work against you if they cannot benefit from you. So we are not expecting any help from them. What we are expecting is for us to help ourselves. So that is why we are not expecting them, because if they are actually aware or willing to do the right thing as per the law permits them to do, or the role that they are established to play as per the law, now they will understand that the right of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu as a British citizen has been violated in so many ways. Arbitrary detention is in violation of the right of an individual. Extraordinary rendition is in violation of international laws. Therefore, that only or that alone should be able to attract the interest of this organization to intervene. But in other words, they cannot intervene because those organizations, they are complicit, just like we know about Amnesty International. Sometimes they will write junk because that is how it favors them, that is how it benefits them. They will write junks against our movement, they will write junk against Nnamdi Kanu and the organization that he lead. Reason being that once you have access in Nigeria, you can grow complicit because no one watches the watchman in Nigeria. They practice godfatherism in Nigeria. They practice favoritism in Nigeria. So if you are basically going to, walk uprightly, you shouldn't be going there because you will be corrupt. Even the angels, if they have to arrive and stay longer, they can get corrupted in Nigeria. That is the system that we are actually up against. Because that system that is established from the status quo, that system is what is grooming all these things: corruption, violation of rights, violation of laws, and police brutality, extortion, kidnapping, terrorism, Those are the things that are actually, very, very prevalent in Nigeria because no one seriously is watching the watchman. The watchman does as they please, as long as it benefits them and their family. So therefore, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that Simon Ekpa goes to court. The people who lined up to testify against him are actually are actually, you know, outnumbers any support that he could get from anyone. Because as he knows Shiwishi, Enyukawanne Allah. Those who were calling him Mwejibuo monkey or Mwejibuo ago, for the sake of clarity, those who were actually chanting and clapping for him, 3,000 people watching in a minute, those who were supporting him, giving him accolades in all his utterances, in all his endeavor to make sure he sabotage Biafra struggle and Biafra land. Those were nowhere to be found in the finished court where Simon Ekpa was being tried. They were not there. But when Nnamdi Kanu goes to court, you see supporters. In the last 36 months, Nnamdi Kanu has been in detention. In the last 36 months, consistently, we've seen supporters traveling from east to the north in order to support Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. That is called solidarity. And that is what should actually push you to contrast. Those of you, when I make a post talking about Simon Ekpa, those of you who were just blind or JJC, because a lot of you are JJC who does not know the story, you might believe that he was our own or he is our own. If he's a pure Igbo blood, good for him. But the original Igbo people that are not mixed with any blood does not condone evil. When we see evil being done, we speak it out, regardless of who is involved. So that's why when you continue to write in those comments that Igbos are their problem, when I make a post about Simon Ekpa, get your fingers ready to be the keyboard warrior who will be on the keyboard defending Simon Ekpa, but you cannot go out there to protest for him or go to Finland and support him and get yourself maybe investigated. So some of you who were supporting him could not go to support him because you know that they have a list of his accomplices in the crime of terrorism. So in this regard, you find no one supporting him or standing for him or giving him hope. You only see fake friends, just like all of you were supporting him, or many of you were supporting him. Now you see fake friends, fake supporters, recruited supporters, naive people, uninformed. They claim he was fighting and protecting our land. Look at it right now. People were actually, during the time of Simon Ekpa, his boys were bragging, bullet in our water, bullet in our water, promoting all this dirty stuff they called, you know, what do they call it? Dibias. All these dirty people who they claim they give them audacious, give them protection, bullet in our water. You saw all those people ranting bullet in our water, supporting evil in our land. Where are those people? Because they were nowhere to be found in solidarity with their man. When the man turned around, what he saw, he saw his neighbor who is coming there to basically testify against him. He turned the other side, he saw who? Witness, and he looked at himself. He remembered that 3,000 people watching in a minute. Where are they? Nowhere to be found. Of course, he came wearing what is called um, electronics monitor device. Electronics monitor device, which is what is given to criminals in Europe. So, in that regard, we now contrast to find out who is for the people and who are the people for, or who is the people supporting. You go to Abuja, you find people who will stand outside the court until the court is over. You find people who are allowed inside the court in solidarity with Nnamdi Kanu until the court is over. And they do it every time when there are proceedings. So many of you will tell me, no, the difference is in Europe. Many Biafrans are in Finland. Or are you telling me that all Biafrans in Finland were not supporting Simon? That means all of them in Finland, they knew the truth. No, that's not true. Because they were autopilot in Finland. So where were they? The guy was lost. The guy was flabbergasted. The guy was so stressed because he was standing alone. But the truth of the matter is, no one is your friend except if you are doing the right thing. Good deed will always locate people who does that, who does it. And good people does not command too much crowd in a hurry. It is their good deed that will eventually make them, have crowds supporting them. Simon had crowds supporting him in social media. Now the thing that demands this crowd to come out to give him the support, you will not see them. And that is the reason why he is going to jail. And that is the reason why you will understand that Nnamdi Kanu did not do what Simon Ekpa did. Hence, Britain did not find him, or place him on the other side of the law. European laws are similar. So, if he had conducted himself the way Simon Ekpa was conducting himself, he was going to be arrested in Europe. But Nnamdi Kanu knows the law. Nnamdi Kanu knows his right. Simon Ekpa was actually an illiterate. This is not because of hate or anything. Simon Ekpa is an illiterate who has no knowledge of the law. An illiterate who has no knowledge of the utterances that are allowed to be made in a public domain, and who has no knowledge of how to conduct himself in public. That is the reason why he was unaliving people in Biafra land and taking responsibility. He even took responsibilities, stretched to more than he can chew. So hence he found himself. Remember, there were Finland journalists who went to Nigeria to obtain some of this information. Because so many of you might be thinking that it is dependent on what we do in the media. Finland journalists traveled to Nigeria in 2022 or 23 to investigate the activities of Simon Ekpa. That's where it went to. Now, he didn't actually listen because he was involved in local politics in Lati. He was involved in local politics in small, town in Helsinki. That is the reason why he thought he is invincible, that is untouchable. Because he crop a picture, do Photoshop of him and some officials in politics in Finland. He believe he's untouchable, or because he took a real pictures with some officials in Finland, he thought he's invincible. He claimed to you that he was a lawyer. He claimed to you he was a military, which all these things was fallacy and lies. All these things are going to be used against him. The lies he told in social media, I call it he duped people under false pretense. That's a law. Theft under false pretense. That's what he used to actually extort money from people, though, including those he claimed he's going to help with their immigration cases. That is a false pretense. So, in this regard, he did all that. This all began in 2020 when Ike mother was disgraced. Mogili na Germany, leaving the people that voted for him exposed. He went to eat New Yam Festival in Germany with the Biafran money, taxpayers' money. He came out there and he supported Ike Ekweremadu because he has intention of being a politician in Nigeria one day after he has retired, or when he has that access to be given a position in Nigeria. I'm talking about Simon Ekpa. But he saw that it was taking so long. He decided to come into the struggle, believing creating all this drama, they will summon him to give him political office. Interacted with Andy Uba and them during the Anambra State election, where they will always promise it, they will promise themselves and all that, how to boycott. It didn't work. When Andy Uba turned him down, he turned to say that Andy Uba is the reason why of all these things are happening in Biafra land, insecurity. That's, by the way, that is the direct information I received at that time, and I reported it. Many people did not see it because they don't understand that guy, what he was doing. Activities of Simon Ekpa killed, many people, including people that are closer to me. It might be that it is not direct killing. Some people had heart attack due to the activities of Simon Ekpa. Which one of my closest allies had heart attack? Because he will bring you and your best friend and join your head together. That's what Simon did in the social media space. He bring two best friends, family, destroy families. That's what he did in social media space. But I said, I don't care when you Lutebero. I don't care when you Lutebero. In this regard, he did all that, and people believe that the gods of our land will allow him to go scot-free. He will not go scot-free. The Finland is dealing with him in their own way. He will still pay for everything he has done that took the lives of Biafrans. He claim he is fighting for Biafra. Instead of empowering the people, he's making them suffer by establishing sit at home. That brings mayhem. That brings, bad omen in Biafra land. for more than 24 months. He continued to shout it at home, to disempower Biafrans, to give up for the support they are giving those who are actually in the quest to restore Biafra for them, and giving Nigeria power and military of Nigeria access to enter Biafra land to unalive innocent people. Children were flogged on the street because they went to school. Women were molested, were actually, intimidated, beaten up, flogged. Their businesses were destroyed. Keke Napepe drivers were actually intimidated, harassed, and assaulted at the command of Simon Ekpa and some criminal elements that he groomed in Biafra land. All these things happened. Some of you who are in the comment section you will say that, this guy, he doesn't know what he's saying. He is the Igbo person I hate those who will say, come into comment section to say, I know be Igbo. But Igbo people, now your papa be Igbo people where be say they do Igbo people. Now your papa. You where they come to my comment section, they say, I know be Igbo. But to you Igbos, now your papa. Your papa no get sense. Now what thing I want tell you. Because your papa, he never taught your papa waiting the activities of Simon Ekpa did. He never taught your papa, he never taught your mama, he never taught you. That's why now your papa, you dey write that comment too. That comment, they piss me off. I don't react to comment, but when I see that type of comment, I know be Igbo. I don't be Igbo. And who tell you make you be Igbo? They ask you whether waiting concern Igbo issue if you know be Igbo. Go to your village and support their village things and mind your own business. Don't come to comment section tell me you know be Igbo. If you know be Igbo, mind your business then. So, as it is, we don't support evil in our land. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is a true freedom fighter. Relentlessly, he continued to fight for you. Even while he is suffering, even while he lost his freedom, he continued fighting for you. And everyone saw that. That's why he is still having everyone's support. But Simon Ekpa fought for his political career, political ambition, fought for money, fought for fortune, fought for fame. That's what he fought for. Ezenago, one of, I don't know which land he came from. And it blinded him. And I warned him, Simon, you don't know that all these things you are doing, you are dancing Sulugede. And Sulugede more. He ignored it. When I interviewed Barrister Jofo, he also Soriel Barrister Jofo. And this and that and that. He claimed he will be our end. Where is he today? All the claims. He gave you time to restore Biafra. He gave you dates to restore Biafra. He collected message from the heart of Nnamdi Kanu from DSS dungeon. But he could not collect message to know that he is going to go to jail. But you know when Biafra will come. These are the things you need to do. Actually, you do introspect to know whether or not you are foolish or you are a coward. In the name of calling me, we are Igbos. I not be Igbo. That's by the way. So it's still in contrast to activities of Ekperima and Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. If you are contrasting, you will know that there is nothing that will link both those two individuals in their activities. Nnamdi Kanu is in arbitrary detention because Nigeria is devoid of laws or devoid of those who are supposed to protect the rights and the laws of the country. They are not doing it. Like I said, so many of you were happy that the trial within a trial was conducted few days ago or last week, And the new fresh claim by the Nigeria government DSS was quashed or struck off the roll. Now, I am not basically optimistic about it. I am skeptical. Since 2021 or since 2022, I've been calling that the best process that a court will take or should take in the case of Nnamdi Kanu is conduct a trial within a trial in order to ascertain whether or not Nnamdi Kanu's rendition was in violation of any laws. That is the only trial within a trial that will ever make sense in the proceedings of that court case. Any other trial within a trial is actually a justice that is actually on a shaky ground. Because first and first, every competent court or every competent court or a competent judge, first thing is to establish whether or not we have a jurisdiction over a standing matter before the procedure or before they proceed to trial. They need to do competency test. They need to do jurisdiction test to make sure whether or not they have jurisdiction to to actually um, preside over such matter. So when appeal court stated that they could not see any case raised to fight or to obtain whether or not Nigeria extradited Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya lawfully. I also actually made a broadcast calling out Supreme Court that you cannot look for another case outside of the existing one in order to ascertain whether or not his rendition was lawfully or unlawfully. You conduct a trial within a trial. That is called due diligence for you to obtain such information in order to know whether or not this trial will proceed in Nigerian court or he will be repatriated to Kenya and then to Britain for such trial to proceed. Appeal court, which is a court of a competent jurisdiction and a competent judge or judges, which came up with that idea of quashing the case and declare the case that it has no jurisdiction to preside over such matter. That court actually did a good job, but they used Supreme Court to nullify the decision. Because Supreme Court came with a propaganda, or will I say, a logic that there is no case established. That means Supreme Court was calling Nnamdi Kanu and his lawyers to do the due diligence that a court system need to do for themselves before proceeding to any trial. And that due diligence is to make sure you have actually a jurisdiction over that case or that existential case before the criminal proceedings or criminal trial will proceed. They didn't do that because they will jump and jump and jump the constitutional mandate that they have and do their own personal, activities. And I give it to you today again. Once again, the Nigeria court that is trying Nnamdi Kanu is still on a shaky ground, regardless of anything that they call progress, until they actually do the due diligence, until they do the needful. Because As it is standing right now, it promotes the violation of international law that govern extradition treaty. As Nigeria court stands right now, it promotes the violation of human rights. It promotes violation of fair hearing as stipulated in 1999 Constitution Section 37, Section 36, Article 1 and Article 4. Nigeria court today violates such constitutions. And Nigeria court violate ICCPR, International Convention for Civil Rights, International Civil Rights, or Convention for Civil Rights, and some. I will remember the full name of that um, law that Nigeria is violated. It is an international law that Nigeria is violating. In the case of Nnamdi Kanu, yet you want me to feel happy that Nigeria conducted trial within a trial and quashed a fresh evidence of fresh claim made by the DSS. They've been making claim, DSS has been making claim prior to the time Nnamdi Kanu was extraordinary rendition to Nigeria, making one claim to the other. Some of them were struck off the road. They continue to replace them, continue to replace them. That's not how a court works. You cannot continue to waste a court time by bringing fresh evidence every day. Because before a matter is presented in a court, there must be a due diligence duly investigated, and it will be on black and white or tape recording evidence that will enable the court to proceed. If those evidence are not intact, court will strike off the roll such cases until evidence is presented and court will discharge that individual. That is how it is done. You cannot come to the DSS every day or every time. You come to the law court and claiming you are coming with a fresh evidence in a matter that has been proceeding since 2021 or since 2015. Since 2015, this matter, you have never concluded your evidence and do your thorough investigation before proceeding to court. Prosecutor, what is your job? So in this regard, you find out that it's still being violated because the court, that means there is no conclusive evidence that is as obtained by the DSS or by the prosecutor before. So my network is quite frustrating. So as I was saying, if the Nigeria court did not do their due diligence before proceeding with this matter of Nnamdi Kanu, on Nnamdi Kanu's case, that would suggest that that is a miscarriage of justice, because he is being held in arbitrary detention, not because there is a very formidable, evidence or case that is against him, but because of the corrupt Nigeria system. And that is the reason why he is being held in arbitrary detention. So now, in contrast, Simon Ekpa is the one who committed all this crime against humanity, against Biafrans. But today, his matter is being handled by professionals. His matter is being handled by people who are unbiased, right? And that is the reason why you will know that he is indeed a criminal. Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to be a free man who has violated no law, internationally and locally. He has violated no law, yet he is in a solitary confinement in the DSS dungeon, and the DSS is masking themselves, bringing people who